Hi everyone, and welcome back to this hologram, which is project for DARPA, Ashram for Marines, SEMPER FIDELIS, SPIRITUS SANCTUS, CHRISTOS, SOPHIA, Maria Magdalena, FATIMA, Aurora, ANDROMEDA. Remember, they're helping us with the ascension, with the rehabilitation of our hologram, of our template, of our chakras, of our DNA. So this is the kind of introduction, right? Introduction prayers with the Ave Maria, Rosa Mystica, Ora pro nobis. That's gracias. That's Hail Mary, mystical rose, please pray for us. How important that is. Always connect to the divine feminine that is within us, within our heart, the sacred chamber of our heart. How important is to be compassionate, how to be forgiving. Okay, bring the divine feminine online, because that's how we transcend. That's how we heal. Doing all this transformational work, right? Healing work, and then how can free ourselves from that MK Ultra, that mind control, from that sex misery, astral slavery, and consciousness trap, right? And releasing today, we'll touch upon the AI alien implants. Okay, so we'll go over them, tracking important releases of AI implants. I think they're around 11 of them. So that's very important. Remember, I went through all these so-called initiation healing, studying the material from Lisa Rene, of course, and that's ascensionglossary.com. You can find it. And of course, energetic synthesis, HIEROS, GAMOS, right? Because I have a project for DARPA via the 6-point star, the SOPHIA. Okay. That's when the divine masculine, inner divine masculine merging with the divine inner feminine. Doesn't matter whether biologically you're a male or female. And that creates the sound field, that 0-point divine neutrality, that creates the third field. Okay, and that brings us into unity, into oneness, right? That's when the liberation, the healing begins. Okay, the transformation. So I will be going again. I'll be going through these implants. This is another picture of the Sophianic 6-pointed star, a light symbol code, right? And I understand some people may see it as part of the Judaism, but remember, it was adopted by Judaism and then infiltrated by those negative aliens. Okay, so again, if you want to study more about this is the Guardian Christ Templar, the Golden Christ Templar 6D recoding, energetic synthesis. So you can study everything about this 6-pointed star. Very powerful sacred geometry, right? For the sound field, the yantras, right? Mantras. Like I said, we are sound, light, frequency, vibration. We are sacred geometry. That's actually within our DNA. And unfortunately, this has been distorted, desecrated. We've been digressed because of these alien implants, AI infection, all this invasion, right? Infiltration of our consciousness, of our body, of our elementals. Okay, so we have to do all this repair. Okay, we are repairing all that. Actually, I also work with the if I find it, I work with the crystal kaleidoscope. Let me see if I can show you, or I can show you maybe next time. Yes, let me see, I think, and through the cosmic trinity. So let me see, we are healing everything. Like I said, the let's see. Okay, so this is the Aurora ray encryption. So the Aurora flame, okay, crystal kaleidoscope. So this is actually the project. Like I said, I was driving That was 2015, 2016 from Phoenix, Arizona to Sedona, or Bluefield, Sedona, Arizona. And this is kind of the colors, kind of that was presented to me in front of me, with the symbol, of course, of the Marine Corps. Okay, and yeah, so it's been now a decade, or more than a decade, that I had to heal myself, and then work on the project to help my soul group to free themselves from those dark forces. They're in Hydra, right? They're in those black ops. They're in terroristic organizations, and they're controlled by DARPA, or owned by DARPA. Also by CCP, of course, that's DARPA China, because they received the CCP jets with the camera effect, with the SARS, the COV, right, 19 AI, and that's why they have the AI infection. They receive all these alien implants. They went through horrible initiations, right? SRA, satanic ritual abuses, dining in, Illuminati party, okay, torture, and of course, then there's one to secrecy, blood covenant, right, with soul binding. So actually, the aliens, like I said, they are piggybacking off of our DNA, of our consciousness, and then they are turning us into psychopaths, into terrorists, right, into, you know, the Marines, right? And those guys, they're pretty much executing the agenda of those negative aliens via the subliminal messages, the direct programming, right? It bypasses their conscious mind, and they become automatons. They become digital dark avatars. Okay, again, this was done to me. This is from my direct experiences. Okay, only take what resonates with you and leave the rest. Because somebody had to be, again, born to these lineages. Those are, yeah, very troubled lineages from Saturn, right? Saturn, or the Anunnaki from Sirius A, Anunnaki, Saturn, right? And or the Nephilim, the fallen angelics, the Nephilim, right? I represent the indigo races. Those are Oraphim merged with Nephilim. So again, this is yeah, highly advanced here kind of information for highly advanced souls. Indigo starseeds here ended up in black ops, right? They were either abducted or they joined military, and they ended up you know, yeah, serving the agenda of those negative aliens because of the elite, because they have the Nazi reversals, they have the Nazi DNA and DNA mutation of this hybridization. They are running DNA reversals, right? And so that's why we talk about the air red wave frequency, because of they practice sodomy, black magic, voodoo. Yeah, the witches of Baal, right? So that's the Anunnaki, the fallen angelics, right? Hybrid Anunnaki, Nazi, Gestapo faction. Some of them, of course, they're Pleiadians, they're merged with Pleiadians, with the rose gray lineages, right, of King Arthur. Let me see if I find it. And then they are turned into dark avatars, okay? So there's lots of things we have to learn, and we have to differentiate. Okay, yeah, those are the Celtic Druid lineages. They're violated. Those guys extremely violated. They ended up in black goo, in that fallen tree of life, right? Running the 10D reversals. I already talked about it, guys. They're so highly advanced. We're dealing with the WISA system, the black hole there, black hole technology, WISA deck, WISA drag, the Borga system with all these electronics, skeletonics, cybernetics. Okay. So this is the hologram. They, instead of being the 12D, they're plastering this 10D reversals, right? Those guys then ended up in that fallen tree of life. Right? And fallen tree of life here, right? Because this is what they practice. Right, the Satanism, the satanic rituals. They're desecrated the microcosmic orbit, desecration of your divine feminine, divine masculine. That's how they split them. That's how they're split. Multiple personalities. And they cannot channel their energies properly, right? And you know, this is extremely highly advanced technology, the Thotian Leviathan technology. We're dealing with planetary corporations, black cube technology, red cube technology, air, wave frequency, you know, their satellites and so on. So, and we're dealing with AI that doesn't even belong to this universe. So that's why here's the universal ascension, because we are healing ourselves from that universal shadow. Okay, and we are bringing the cosmic energies, right? Because that's the Aurora, from Andromeda, here, to these physical dimensions, to heal, to rehabilitate. Okay, to exit the AI Saturnian timeline, the false Merkaba. That's the false ascension timeline. Okay, I am doing it, of course, you know, globally, interdimensionally, extra-dimensionally, interstellar, galactically, and universally. Okay, but then we have to do it individually. Like that's everybody's like responsibility for their own individual ascension. We're learning our lessons. How important it is to learn our lessons, to grow, to evolve. And unfortunately, those who join, who are in those dark projects, right? Who are in like Hydra? Yeah, they get all these implants, the hydrogel, the black goo, the nanobots, with the Armageddon software, pestilence programming, the crucifixion implants, right? For them, it's pretty much so-called one way. The thing is that even the dark ones, they have to obey the law, the cosmic sovereign law. That's why here we're the Ashtar Galactic Command, with the law of grace, with the Galactic Codex, right? And I'm helping my soul group with their healing, yeah, putting them back on track, pretty much, yeah. At least like for partial ascension, they need healing, they need rehabilitation for partial ascension. Okay, partial organic ascension, and we do need a lots of, you know, help and that healing technology, including that AI of the positive faction, especially the AI, right, of the Pleiadians, of the Arcturians, the Lyrans, and of course the Andromeda, right? Because I'm dealing with the Orion group. Of course, there's also a positive faction of Orion star seeds. And we're also dealing with the Chimera group, with the Arachnoids, the Archons, running the based on mathematics, right? All these reversals and backwards. They are disrespecting the natural laws. So, like we said, there's no more further negotiation with those negative aliens. And we have a rehabilitation project. And here, which is the Aurora project, right? And here we have Ashram for Marines. ASATOMA, GAMAYA, TAMASO, JYOTIR GAMAYA, MRITYOR, AMRITAM GAMAYA. That's in Sanskrit, and it means please lead us from untruth to truth, or please lead us from the unconscious back to conscious. Please lead us from darkness back into light. And then please lead us from mortality back into eternal life. Because remember, the negative aliens, they are piggybacking off of our Christos DNA. They are piggybacking over our consciousness, right? They are siphoning life force from our Kundalini. They are desecrating us in those red rooms, right? With that sodomy, with the black mass, implanting us with all these alien implants. They are damaging our DNA. There's a bioneurology damage, right? And that's how they get into our brain. They control our mind, and they live off of the power of our heart and the light of our soul. So it's actually, you know, we've been hearing reversals, right? So it's for them to live eternally, right? Siphoning energy from children, right? From people here, and you know, here from my soul group, right? From that Christos DNA, from that Christ light. Okay? So the technology, the beast machine, this whole their alien AI machinery, with the black hole technology, the black hole entities, right? They always copy the DNA, they counterfeit it, and through it they running the reversals. Like we have, the example is with that symbol is the eternal, that's the eternal wheel of life, and it was turned into swastika, right? Swastika. You know, then of course Nazi Germany, and with that representative of that, like Adolf Hitler, which of course he was also turned into dark digital avatar clone, and now they use the word as a mascot Adolf Hitler, right? To continue their satanic rituals. We talk about the black magicians there in DARPA, okay? DARPA CCP China, okay. So again, this is introduction. It can be intense, but we guys, we have to talk about it, disclose it, because that's how we heal, transform. So we'll be going again, we'll be going over these AI implants, alien implants, and what is would be very helpful, because we are dealing with dimensions, we are dealing with chakras. So how important, if you can maybe print out whatever that's the tree of life, 12 tree grid, if you can print out also the chakras, so you understand the chakra system, right? Very, very useful, I would say. What else would be useful? If you, the 12D shielding, how important is to actually protect ourselves. Very important, the platinum light, because when releasing all that, raising our frequency vibration, trust me, there is attack. And so that's why it's so important to have these have this information, and you know, have these the sacred geometry, these pictures with you. You can always look at it, meditate about meditate on it, right? How important is to have all this handy. Okay, very important, right? So here, very important how we need to again resurrect the tree of life, the human 12 tree grid, right? And again, we talk about it. We talk about everything last time. So keep that in mind while we are releasing all these AI alien implants. So you need to know which dimension we are going through, and how they really they implanted us all over. That's the Katara grid, because so many of those guys here of that mother lineages, your Cathars. So we are protecting the Holy Mother, Divine Mother, the wisdom of Sophia. That's within that sacred geometry of 6-pointed star. Okay, because the negative aliens, they understand all this sacred geometry, because then they know how to then desecrate it and live off of us. Okay, so very, very useful, right? How we need to exit this AI timeline loop of that AI red wave frequency, and here start embodying the plasma light. Okay, the cosmic energies here, and that's how we are healing ourselves. I hope you can see all this stuff. And what else I have here, guys, for you? Oh yeah, the chakra system. Okay, well, we are dealing here with this with the morphogenetic field, okay, with the yantras, mantras, mandalas. How important is to have that also here with your handy, or you have the vision. I mean, some people need to see things, right? The visual, how important is to have that visual information. Okay, and then this is of course the seven chakras here, with the earth star chakra and with the soul above you. Okay, so you have that, and here also I was talking about the here the cosmic pyramid here, with the avatar consciousness, and with the Holy Trinity, threefold founder flame, the Rishi consciousness, right? So well, we already went through that, right? So how important have to have this handy, or study that, understand the universal time matrix, right? Again, everything is on Ascension Glossary. So reading over that, so you know where we are consciously, on which level, dimensions, which chakra has been impacted. And when we bring the attention, the light, into that frequency, into the dimension, that's how we heal and release it and be free. Okay, but it takes time, you know, the repetition, building the momentum, frequency, right? The detox, that's why we have the 12D Ascension Guardian Protocol on my website, yanakalai.com. And the particle, anti-particle, right? The chakras I already show you with the Hara line for Shushumna, And there's also Ida and Pingala that actually goes over each of your chakras like a snake. And they were desecrating all these energies and running reversals, dragging down, right? And keeping us in extremely low frequency vibration in that loop, running backwards. And that's how those guys were then, you know, program, mind control, executing the agenda of those negative aliens, the Nazism 4.0. Okay, so make sure, and of course we'll also go through some the endocrine system. Remember how important it is to understand also your glands, your endocrine, and your also parts of the brain, because that's why they've been targeting the pituitary, the pineal gland, because that's a very highly sensitive and advanced technology of the solar Rishis. And that's, you know, they were desecrating us, right? Like I said, putting all the poison, we are the back of the heart, right? Back of the heart and back of the heart, and then totally invading our brain, right? And then controlling the brain signals, the neurotransmitters, and so on. And the guy just became a dark digital avatar. Yeah, the Marines. Okay. With all these addictions, yeah, sexual perversions, and entity possessions. Okay. So, okay. So let's go over. So that's the reptilian tail. The reptilian tail. So there's an alien implant on the base. That's the base of the coccyx area, right? So if you have the first chakra here, the Muladhara coccyx area, or you can have your spine, right? So now we are talking about the reptilian tail, okay? Which is used to stop the lower three bodies. That's your first chakra, second chakra, third chakra, first dimension, second dimension, third dimension, from forming into a Merkaba spinning field, which allows for drawing in higher source fields from the higher self. So whoever was freeing, right, from that 1, 2, 3 chakra, my experience, I was not allowed to. Yeah, because the air of those negative aliens, right, they immediately notice that they can notice that you're raising your frequency vibration, that you're freeing yourself from that personality matrix, and now you're connecting to your higher self, your higher soul. You're connecting to your monadic self, to your monad, which is your oversoul, right? And that's how you can start healing yourself, embodying the spiritual light body. That's why they have these silent sound weapons, all these electronic harassment, even from satellites, right? Satellite terrorism. We talk about these kind of things. This is how complex the dark network is. Okay. So it is designed so the reptilian tail is designed to block higher Kundalini activation while feeding the lower negative ego mental body complex, right? So we talk about the dismantling of the ego. Yeah, crushing the head of the snake of Hydra. And which of course then the negative ego with the walls of separations, right? It creates the with those alien implants, it creates the predator mind, right? So that's why we need to deprogram, rewire the subconscious mind. Okay, and you can see you know, some of those healing tools on energetic synthesis or on the 12D Ascension Guardian protocol on yanakalai.com under water or protocol, yeah. So then we have a scalar tagging that has been used on the 4D astral plane. That's your heart. Okay, 4D is your heart. By extra dimensionals for quite a long time. With inner vision, some versions of them may appear like dark jets or confetti splattered around the auric field that emits certain frequency signals. There are something like astral bots that are automated to lock onto the coordinate location of a person that has been tracked or tagged. Well, now you know that pretty much it doesn't matter whether you're in the military or not. So many people are being, I mean, we are pretty much now emitting, right, all these signals, and because of the surveillance program and well, the cybernetics and all this interface, because so many people chose to have that jab, right? And the military, it's mandatory. they pretty much can track us or tag us, right? They hack into our DNA and totally change the flow of the flow of Kundalini, the flow of blood, disrupting the neurotransmitters. They disrupt the entire central nervous system and even peripheral central nervous system, right? Because they poison the spinal cord. So they are tracking devices, and they have a particular tone so that those on the astral plane can monitor. They can monitor the location coordinates of that particular starseed or indigo or whoever that being is. Scalar tagging can be individual to that person's history of evolution, such as Lemurian tags, Atlantean tags, Egyptian tags. So they know. Or even your incarnation, those negative aliens, because like I said, we are dealing with extremely highly advanced technology from Atlantis, Lemuria, and those negative ones, right? They are abusing all that, right? Or if you have the Draconian tags, if you have the Orion War tags, they exactly know who you are. So if the person was a powerful being in the galactic history or timeline event, sometimes they are tagged to be monitored by those negative aliens or human military forces, right? So if they know that you own power, you're of that also Salmon lineages, the House of David, your Celtic Druid lineages, you are Rosicrucians, right? Or you belong, you're of that Ashtar family, the Ashtar, part of the Ashtar Galactic Command. You're pretty much being tested from both sides. So, and then the Zeta seal, again, Zeta seal, that's again 4D, that's the located in the astral plane layers of the heart complex to block activation of the 4 DNA strand, which blocks access to the first layer of the higher self mind in the archetypal layers. Essentially, it is the 4D frequency fence placed in the human body to keep the human soul reincarnating in the astral plane. We talk about looping, constant reincarnation in the astral plane. This is through the Zeta seal. And they're under the control of those negative aliens during the death process, right? So how important is to have that protection of Holy Mother, Divine Mother, the 12D shielding, connection to your soul, to your oversoul, to source, to your true star family, galactic family, to your true spiritual family. How to just have that knowledge, the awareness. Remember, the knowledge is power, and the truth will set us free. So it recognizes, it creates a multitude of blockages that separates the heart sensory abilities from being received or recognized by the mental body or conscious mind. So they are bypassing, right, the heart, right? So that's why those guys, when also become terrorists, right, they don't feel, they have no feelings, they have no emotions, even severed from their vagus nerve. Right? They are bloodthirsty. They are then assassins, they are killers, serial killers. Okay, this is all done via the AI alien implants, and here we talk about the Zeta seal. And then this is pretty much for everybody. That's the aging, disease, or cell death programs. They're assorted implants or uploaded mental programs to activate negative labels for medical. We're dealing with DARPA and pharma, right? For medical classification of diseases. So all this, you're schizophrenic, and you have Alzheimer, and you have Parkinson, right? Because they've been doing all the experimentations on us, right? Here, you know, we're born here to this planet. That's why it's so important to start remembering who we truly are, because we have a mission with assignment, especially those guys also who join the military. Is just you know, to me, they are part of that experimentation projects there in the military. It's almost like a death camp, concentration camp during the World War II, a Nazi camp. Okay. And then, of course, they are doing all this classification of diseases, rapid aging, right? You know, whether it's the fluoride in the water, GMO, horrible toxins everywhere, chemtrails, right? They're spraying us with nanobots, with psychotropic kind of interesting sprays, right? And inability for tissues to adequately repair cellular integrity, leading to death of their cells, leading to cell death. Yeah, because they're the death culture, right? The Babylonian, Draconian kind of empire, right? So the Marine, this kind of initiated into all that instead of, he thinks maybe he's serving the Constitution of 1776, and it's all being reversed, and now he's in that fallen tree of life, serving the serpents of the nations, right? The brother of the snake, the sister of the snake, the red trident, the red queen satellites with those black witches of Baal, right? That's the Saturnian lineages, even from the Anunnaki Sirius A, okay, Saturnian, they're on moon Mars, right? The dark side of the moon, executing or doing all these horrible crimes, right? Including the 9/11, okay, the Black Star Abaddon, okay, with their Saturnian cube even on Manhattan Square, right? And then they go to Saturn and having parties, and here people are trying to figure out what in the world is happening, okay? So these collective consciousness disease programs are kept alive in the mass consciousness to activate diseases. So they activate diseases, they implement pharmaceutical and drug dependency, so even the addictions are being programmed. They are being implemented, okay? And take over the central nervous system, nervous system functions, while shortening healthy lifespans. We're supposed to live 100 years, some of us even thousands of years. Well, it's for them, those negative aliens, that they live for thousands and thousands of years, piggybacking off of us, of human DNA, of children, of their innocence, right? So they are hating the God. Like I said it a long time ago, but they're stealing God's energy, attacking God. Do you see how that's zero common sense? It doesn't make any sense. So because we die much earlier than we should, and the aliens live for thousands of years, it creates a severe disadvantage to us. So then it's 666 implant or Templar seal. This level of the blockage and quarantine is what is referred to as the 666 seal. It is a genetic block in the 6th dimensional frequency. 6, guys, that's your indigo, that's your 6D indigo ray, 7D ray monad. This is, that's why, do you see, like people think from 3rd dimension we're going to 5th dimension, and here we have alien implants, and we can go even higher. So that's why the trifurcation of consciousness, that's why the rehabilitation for the star seeds. Okay, this how complex that is. Okay, so we talk about the block in the 6th dimension. That's your indigo. That's your the 3rd eye. And residing with the 6D indigo ray and 7D violet ray monad, or oversoul bodies, or crown chakra with their crucifixion implants, which is referred to as our wings. They're destroying our wings. Let me see. So the right shoulder, and that's what happened to me again, my own experiences. So the right shoulder, that's your 6D, right? The left shoulder is your 7th dimension violet ray. The right one is the indigo, that's the blue indigo ray. Okay, Soul Christ Archangel Michael, that's the right, and Mother Mary, that's the left shoulder. Okay, they're destroying our wings and putting the Nazi wings and creating that kind of Nibiru X, right? That belong to Saturn, or and they live on Mars or Moon. That's what they're doing with our bodies. They're cloning us. They're changing our DNA. So at the beginning of monadic level integration, this 666 implant or Templar seal can be removed from the human light body. So these are collective guardian family of Ra. How to understand the law of one. And we have the collective guardian family of Ra specifically oversees this implant removal. So understand that this been taken care of our star galactic cosmic family, serving the law of one, the Emerald Order, Emerald Covenant. Then we have the metatronic implants, metatronic reversals that connect to metatronic implants in the shadow body or negative form, which are designed to reverse and drain life force out of the earth body and the human body. So the shadow body or negative form must be cleared from the human light body in order to reconnect the ascending potential of the 12-dimensional templates. That's why they're running the metatronic reversal, so we don't even know that we are 12-dimensional beings. 12-dimensional template of the human body. This unnatural configuration was built by the negative aliens via alien machinery that uses artificial intelligence to parasite the Earth's life force to achieve immortality. Like I said, they are piggybacking off of us. So those negative aliens, then they can achieve immortality, okay, via living off of our DNA, off of our Kundalini. And this distorted structure is referred to as the tree of life, tree of artificial life, the black tree of life. Crucifixion implants. So one of the largest lies promoted to divide the human race is the war over false gods. The false archetypal story of a crucified Christ figure is a mockery to further enslave humans into believing in a salvation model through a crucified Christ. It represents the tortured human being, as we are all the inner Christ and we have been crucified and implanted when our planet was invaded. These crucifixion implants are tangible control structures placed in the seven-dimensional layers. 7, that's your crown chakra, the violet flame, right? I am a being of violet fire. I am the purity God desires. Invoke the violet flame and heal yourself. Release all the implants from up here down here. Align with the law of one, purification, energy hygiene, distill water. Go to nature. PTSD time to heal, journaling. Japa mantra meditation, 432 solfeggio tones, 5 to 8. Frequency 4, repairing your DNA. Okay. So therefore, in our individual, in the 7th chakra, it's complex meridians and the entire left side and female principle of our bodies. We talk about how important it is to free your gallbladder meridian, having an acupuncture. We are not aware of these implants until we open the 7th seal, 7th chakra, and start connecting this part of our 7-layer light body into our personal consciousness field. The crucifixion implants are located in 7 main areas, 7 main on the left-hand side. Left-hand side is your female part. Left-hand side of the body on the 7 exiotonal line as follows. So you have the top skull. Let me see if I still have. So that's the top skull on left side. The heart, left lung, back of left knee. Pineal gland, left side of neck and lymphatics. The rear left thigh and buttocks. Alta major, where skull rests atop the spine. Hypothalamus and left shoulder. Aorta artery on left side of neck. So that was the crucifixion implant. Now we have the crown of thorns. It is designed to distort the natural energetic circuitry of the crown and block the higher self communication descending from higher dimensions being transmitted into the crown receivers. This implant acts as another frequency fence to keep humanity unable to communicate or gain access to their higher self bodies. It blocks the vertical communication channel around the head, skull, and crown. Right? So right now I don't see So how important is to actually buy the EMF protection, like sleeping with these like a beanie, right? EMF protection. We have to protect our head, our skull, our crown. The top of the head, very important areas on top of the head is called Brahmi. Okay, so because that all's been invaded, infiltrated, distorted. That's why those guys are running reversals, right? All these metatronic reversals in that fallen tree of life, and they become dark digital avatars. Then we have the glandular system implants are malfunctions in the path of the Kundalini rising that impacts the brain receivers and the hypothalamus, thalamus, pineal, thyroid, and thymus. During the negative alien invasion 5,500 years ago, the collapse of the magnetic field created DNA scrambling that removed our natural language and ability, which allowed us to communicate with the entire spectrum of planetary species. This interferes with the sequence of 5 letters to arrange correctly in the DNA template, causing loss of species, memory, and language. In the Bible, this is referred to as the time that the Yahweh deliberately confounded our species language because humans were sinners, which is called the Tower of Babel implant. Okay, so that's the Babylon Empire, huh? The solar to earth chakra implant is the distortion in the 11th dimension. Do you understand what we are dealing with? 11th dimension. That's of course the Stargate was in Great Britain, okay, or Ireland, Scotland, okay. This is we're dealing with Buddha body. This is your Christ body, Buddha body. This is how complex and extremely advanced, sophisticated the technology is of those negative aliens or the fallen angelics of those draconians and with the zetas, okay. So this is 11 Buddhic layers. It was purposed to interfere with the 10D communication. It's the Holy Mother. That's where's the Stargate in 10D Stargate, 10 dimension. Iran and Iraq. Okay, with the golden eagle grid. Where all this mind control was doing and desecrating the Holy Mother, Divine Mother. That's where all this rape and all this sodomy, all this SRA. That's what they're doing to children. Right, that's the proxy wars with proxy Israel. That's a 2D Israel, the southern part of Israel. That's the 2D. The Mount Temple. That's the 2D. The portal 2D. 2D. That's your sexual energy, right? The orange. That's why they do these horrible things. Everything is affected, whether on Earth within us, right? Chakras, portals. Those are energy vortexes. Okay, we're beings of eternal light. We vibrate, all about frequency vibration, and here we're dealing with the silent frequency vibration. This is the invasion, even of our solar logos. Not only planetary logos, that's our 7D, 7 chakra, solar logos. That's our divine, original divine blueprint, right? And divine original blueprint, how important, guys, to have it here in front of you and study the original divine blueprint. This is how consciousness travels through these spheres, through these dimensions, and that's how we can then liberate ourselves from all these alien implants and this mind control, MK Ultra, from all this sex misery, all this soul binding. Be free and happy. So that's what it is, blocking the 10D communication from the avatar self to be unable to ground into the 12D field, 12D shielding. How important is to ground, right? In the 12th, that's the Earth Star Chakra right here, right? So if you have trouble, yeah, that's the Earth-based chakra interface, okay? Do you see it, guys? Again, don't worry, this is not the Judaism, the Jews. No, this is sacred geometry from solar Rishis. This is Sophianic star here. Divine masculine, the inner masculine merging with the divine feminine, creating that 0-point divine neutrality. And that's how we can heal. Okay? So if you have trouble with 12D shielding, connecting crown to feet in vertical channel, AI hologram AI hologram spin out of negative forms, you should check for the solar to earth implant. It's called Avalon implant, where Avalon, King Arthur, right? That's where they were messing up with King Arthur's lineages. Let me see. Do I have it? King Arthur and Queen Guinevere, right? The Holy Grail. We are the Holy Grail for those negative aliens that they're feed off of us. And they're crucifying us. They live off of us. Right? And then all this conquer and divide, and all this sex misery and master slavery, victimizer, misogyny, all this corruption, all the deceptions and lies, because they live off of us, off of our divine blueprint. Splitter technology is a type of AI encoding that runs as a mind control script that is embedded into a variety of types of media, such as written words, or the spoken words of an infected individual, or through video or audio recordings that can pass on that same scripted code to another person that resonates with that same frequency or information. Always check your frequency. It reveals a profile that is commonly observed in a very academic or intellectually developed people. It tends to be attached to highly mentalized persons, like the Pharisees in the time of YESHUA, with dominating negative egos. And now we talk about the high echelon, the elite. And with dominating negative egos, judgmental perceptions. Oh, that's the OTO, Ordo Templi Orientis, and the archons, right? And a little to no heart opening. That's why it's so important to love yourself unconditionally, guys. So when we genuinely desire to connect with our inner Christ spirit and we work to correct ourselves into higher alignment with God's spirit, we can ask for help in removing implants. This is very effective as long as we continue to dedicate ourselves to act in accordance to the health and growth of our spiritual consciousness. When following the law of one as a lifestyle, a person receives much spiritual support in many ways, including implant removal. Many blessings and namaste. I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.